The next morning, Arya awoke to the distant hum of the pack's activity. For the first time, she felt different, stronger, alert, and strangely connected to the land around her. Her hands tingled with energy, a pulse she could sense in the soil, the trees, even the wind. She knew it was only a fraction of the power the ancient Alpha had promised, but it was enough to make her heart race with excitement and fear. The pack was preparing for the coming threat. Scouts had reported unusual movements at the edge of Lupira, machines and alien shapes unlike anything they had seen. Normally, the elders would lead the warriors and call the wolves to defend the borders. Today, Arya stood apart, unsure if they would even allow her near the battle. She could feel the eyes of the children and adults upon her, a mix of curiosity, doubt, and barely hidden fear. "Stay back, Empty," one elder barked. "You are not ready for this." Arya clenched her fists. She had been ready her whole life, even without a wolf. She didn't need their approval. She had the ancient Alpha. With a deep breath, she focused on the energy within her, calling forth the shapes she had seen in the cave. Light shimmered around her fingers, forming ghostly outlines of wolf spirits, flickering and strong, obedient to her will. The alien force arrived at mid-morning. Sleek metallic ships hovered over the forest, casting shadows across the trees. From the sky, drones and armed troops descended, scanning for movement. The pack's warriors howled, summoning their wolves, but their fear was visible. The aliens were fast, precise, and well-armed. Arya stepped forward, the wind shifting around her as the wolf spirit solidified. They were not the pack's wolves, but they moved with an unnatural speed and strength. She raised her hands and a surge of energy shot out, forming a barrier that deflected the first wave of alien attacks. Sparks flew, metal twisted, and the warriors of the pack stared in disbelief. "By the moons," whispered one of the younger hunters. She's not like us." The aliens regrouped, scanning for the source of the interference. Arya felt their focus, their intent to destroy. She concentrated, sending her wolf spirits forward. They moved like lightning, striking drones, flipping machines, and scattering troops. Every action she took was deliberate, precise, guided by the ancient Alpha's teachings. Even the elders could not deny what they were witnessing. The girl they had scorned, the child without a wolf, was leading the defense. Her energy did not match any human-wolf combination they had known. It was stronger, faster, and unpredictable. Yet it worked. The pack's warriors, emboldened by her actions, began to fight alongside her, their wolves matching her speed and strength, inspired by her courage. As the battle raged, Arya felt a surge of something deeper. The ancient Alpha's presence filled her mind, larger than ever before. "Now," he commanded, "awaken fully." Arya closed her eyes, focusing on every feeling, every thought, every connection she had ever made with the land, the pack, and herself. Light exploded from her body, enveloping the battlefield. Her wolf spirits multiplied, their forms merging into a colossal, shimmering wolf that towered over the trees. Its eyes glowed with ancient intelligence, and its roar shook the ground. The aliens froze, their sensors unable to comprehend what they saw. Then she struck. The massive wolf surged forward, sweeping the alien forces with a wave of energy. Machines were hurled into the sky. Drones dismantled mid-flight, and troops stumbled in terror. Arya felt no fear, only focus, only purpose. She was the protector of her people, the link between past and present, the embodiment of the ancient Alpha's power. The battle continued through the afternoon, but Arya's confidence grew with every success. The pack fought with renewed vigor, inspired by her bravery and unique strength. Even the young children, once mocking her, howled with pride as their pack, guided by Arya, turned the tide. When the last of the alien forces were driven back, silence fell over the forest. Smoke and dust hung in the air, and the pack's warriors surveyed the damage, their hearts pounding. They looked at Arya differently now, not as the Empty, not as the shame of the pack, but as a leader, a hero, and a symbol of hope. One of the elders, the harshest critic of her childhood, stepped forward, bowing slightly. "Arya, we underestimated you," he said, his voice trembling. "You are the pack's true strength." Arya nodded, feeling both pride and humility. "Strength is not just in our wolves," she replied quietly. "It is in courage, in the will to protect, and in the heart to stand even when others doubt you." The children cheered, and the pack began to gather around her. The ancient Alpha's presence faded, leaving her with a calm, steady energy that felt like it belonged to her alone. She knew the threat had only been a test, a prelude to greater challenges, but she also knew she was ready. Over the following days, Arya trained with the pack, learning to control her powers more precisely. She discovered that her wolf spirits could take many forms, each suited for different tasks, some for speed, others for defense, and some for sensing danger. She could feel the forest, the rivers, and even the mountains responding to her energy. Lupira itself seemed alive under her touch. The pack began to see her not only as a protector but also as a teacher. She shared her techniques, helping others improve their skills and understand that power could come from within, not just from a wolf bond. Slowly, the shame that had once defined her vanished, replaced by respect and admiration. One evening, as the twin moons of Lupira rose high, Arya stood atop a cliff overlooking the forest. Her wolf spirits danced in the light, reflecting in her eyes. She thought of the ancient Alpha who had chosen her for this path and of the pack, who now looked to her as a leader. She whispered to the wind, "I will protect this land. I will protect my pack, and I will be the Alpha they never expected." A gentle howl echoed through the trees, not a wolf's but her own, full of confidence and promise. The pack answered in kind, howls of acceptance and unity rising into the night. Arya smiled, feeling a connection she had never thought possible, not just to a wolf, but to everyone around her, to the land, and to herself. The threat beyond Lupira had been driven back, but Arya knew it was only the beginning. Somewhere out in the stars, forces were watching, waiting, yet now she was not afraid. She had the power, the courage, and the heart to face whatever came. And Lupira, the pack she had once been ashamed of, had found its true Alpha. For the first time in her life, Arya felt complete. Not because of a wolf at her side, but because of the strength she had found within herself. As she looked to the horizon, light from the rising sun glinting on the forest canopy, Arya knew one thing clearly. She was no longer the empty. She was a protector, a warrior, and a beacon of hope. And the story of the girl without a wolf who became the pack's greatest Alpha would be remembered for generations. The forest seemed to breathe with her, the rivers whispered her name, and the wind carried the promise of a future where courage, heart, and determination mattered more than bloodlines or tradition. Arya had changed not only herself but the pack forever, and in the quiet moments before the sun fully rose, she closed her eyes, feeling the ancient Alpha's pride in her mind, and whispered softly, "Thank you. I will not fail you or them." The wolf spirits gathered around her, a shimmering army of light and energy, and together they faced the future, stronger, united, and unstoppable. Arya stood at the edge of the forest, her heart heavy with the whispers of the pack behind her. She could hear them even without their voices. They communicated through thoughts, a strange gift that all members shared. But Arya had always felt separate, different, and weaker. She had been born without a wolf, a companion that bonded to every member of their pack. The other children had their wolves at their sides by the time they were toddlers, running, hunting, and learning together. Arya had nothing. The pack lived on Lupira, a planet of dense forests, jagged mountains, and deep blue rivers. Its people were a hybrid of human and alien DNA, able to shift into partial wolf forms. Their wolf companions were not just animals, they were extensions of their soul, guides in battle and symbols of strength. Without one, a member was considered incomplete, unworthy, and Arya, unfortunately, was the only one in generations to be born without a wolf. She remembered her first day in the pack's training ground. Wolves circled the children as the elders watched. Every child called out to their wolf, summoning it with a bond stronger than words. Arya had tried. She had tried with all her heart, focusing every thought on forming a connection. But nothing happened. Not a whisper, not a flicker of a wolf. Her classmates had laughed, their wolves nipping playfully at her. Even the teachers shook their heads. "Another disappointment," one elder muttered, barely quiet enough for her to hear. From that day, Arya had been pushed to the edge, forced to watch as the others grew stronger while she remained weak. The pack called her the Empty, and the name stung worse than any bite from a wolf. But Arya refused to give up. Alone in the forests outside the pack's home, she studied the wolves and their humans from a distance. She learned their movements, their strategies, their hunting patterns. She tried copying them, practicing stealth, speed, and agility. But every attempt ended with frustration. Her wolf never came. One morning, during the trial of the young hunters, Arya faced her greatest challenge yet. The elders had set a dangerous path through the forest filled with cliffs, wild predators, and hidden traps. Each child was expected to summon their wolf and track a fleeing creature before nightfall. Arya's chest tightened as she stepped onto the path. She could feel the gazes of the pack's children on her, full of expectation and cruelty. "Good luck, Empty," someone sneered. Arya clenched her fists. She had no wolf, but she had something else: her mind, her determination, and the lessons she had learned in silence. She ran, dodged, and climbed, careful not to fall. But when a wild Luperan beast leapt from the shadows, she froze. The children's wolves were there in an instant, fangs bared, driving the creature away. Arya had nothing. She barely escaped by jumping onto a ledge and rolling down the slope. Bruised and shaken, she realized again how powerless she truly was. As night fell, she wandered deeper into the forest, far from the path, far from judgment. She wanted to disappear. Her feet led her to a hidden valley, where the trees grew taller and the air shimmered with a strange energy. At its center was a cave carved with symbols older than memory. Arya approached, drawn by curiosity and a whisper she could not understand. Inside, the walls glowed faintly with ancient markings. She traced them with her fingers, feeling a pulse beneath her touch. Suddenly, a voice filled her mind, not spoken aloud but clear and commanding. "Arya," it said, deep and resonant, "you were not born without a wolf. You were born with the gift of the first alpha." Arya froze. The first alpha was a legend, a warrior who had united the pack centuries ago. He was said to be more powerful than any wolf-bonded human, able to command energy itself. But he had vanished long ago, leaving only stories and carvings. "Why me?" she whispered in her thoughts. "Because you are the one who can awaken what has been lost," the voice replied. "The strength of the pack is not in numbers or in wolves alone. It is in courage, wisdom, and the will to protect. You have been tested and found worthy." Arya's heart raced. Could this be true? Could the shame, the endless teasing, the solitude all mean something greater? The voice continued. "A threat comes, Arya. A force beyond your pack seeks to conquer Lupira. They see us as weak. You must awaken the power within you. Only then can the pack survive." Tears filled her eyes. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her. Yet for the first time she felt a spark of hope. She had spent her life believing she was weak, but now perhaps she had a purpose. "Teach me," she said silently, to the unseen presence. "Patience," the voice replied. "First, you must understand yourself. Your power will not be like the others. It will be different, unique. You must embrace it fully or it will overwhelm you." Hours passed, or perhaps days. Time seemed to stretch strangely in the cave. Arya sat in meditation, following the voice's guidance, focusing on her mind and spirit. She felt a warmth spreading through her body, a connection to the carvings, to the forest outside, to the very essence of Lupira. Slowly, images came to her, shapes of wolves made of light, shadows of energy moving like wind, and herself standing taller, stronger, surrounded by the pack she had once feared. When she emerged from the cave, the forest seemed different. The air shimmered with possibility. The pack's settlement was visible on the ridge above. Arya's pulse quickened. She had a choice: return to the pack as the same outcast or step forward as someone entirely new. Her first test came sooner than she expected. A scout from a neighboring pack, unknown and hostile, appeared near the edge of Lupira's forest. Normally, the pack's elders would call the wolves to intercept it. But Arya felt something stir within her chest, a tingle of energy that responded to her will. She concentrated, focusing on the scout's movements, imagining the light shapes from her vision. A sudden pulse of energy shot from her hands, not like a wolf's bite, but a shimmer that struck the scout. The alien stumbled, confused, and Arya realized she had done something incredible. She had no wolf, yet she had power. Power that could protect, power that could command, power that was uniquely hers. The pack's children watched from the ridge, their mouths open in shock. Whispers turned into stunned silence. For once, Arya was not the weak one. She was something else entirely. The vision of the ancient Alpha returned in her mind. "This is only the beginning," he said. "You must learn, train, and grow. Soon the threat will arrive in full. You will need all your courage." Arya nodded silently. Her shame, her loneliness, her fear, all of it had brought her here. And now, for the first time in her life, she felt hope. She returned to the pack under the fading light of the twin moons. ready to face the disbelief, the teasing, and the challenge. The journey ahead would not be easy. The elders would doubt her, the children might still mock her, and the threat from beyond Lupira loomed closer every day. But Arya had discovered a truth far greater than any wolf bond. Strength comes not only from the companions at your side, but from the courage within. As the first stars of night appeared in the sky, Arya whispered to herself, "I will show them. I will protect them, and I will become more than they ever imagined." With that, she stepped into the settlement, a girl without a wolf, no longer defined by shame, but by the promise of power, courage, and destiny. The ancient Alpha's guidance lingered in her mind, a quiet but unwavering presence. Arya was ready. Lupira had no idea what was coming.